Meeting is now live streaming.
We're live.
Okay, so we are here. We are live and ready. So let's go. Ready,
Set,
go live. Hey, everybody. Welcome to another Saturday Live with Coach Juana and Dr. Priscilla. Whoop, whoop. So what's going on, Coach?
I don't know. You the one with all the stories. You had the big wedding last weekend.
Oh, and I cannot wait for those pictures to come. I know that I just cannot wait. I didn't take my camera in with me into the ceremony. It would not have done any good if I had. I did take a few, but I wasn't in with the bridesmaid. I was in with my son, and her mother was with her. Not that I needed to be with my son, but it was the way that I had my shoes on, and he didn't want her to know that we were all wearing sneakers. So that would have been the dead giveaway, because I would have gone in with my sneakers. But it was really, really nice. It was a beautiful wedding. So hopefully within a few weeks, if not sooner, they sent the videographer sent the videos out to be whatever they need to be out to be done. So as soon as they get back, I will share. And that's it for me. What are you doing in Memphis? What's going on?
All that wedding stuff, and you saying that's all you got to share, really?
Yeah, that's all I got to share.
I got questions.
Okay, I got answers.
It happened on a Sunday, right?
Yes, it was on Sunday.
Sunday. What time was it? I mean, come
on.
Oh,
it was.
You got to tell us about the wedding. I mean,
it was
people were there. Where was the wedding?
Okay.
What did the bride wear? What did she think when she saw the sneakers? How you just gonna just
rush past that? Oh, well, there wasn't that much conversation about the sneakers because that was her day. Whatever probably was of little significance, but it was a beautiful church. There was only 50 people, and when I say 50, it probably was 53. And they started out knowing that it had to be small, and they were inviting 100, but then Father Williams said it had to be 50. So they had to go back and cut the list. But the church is an Episcopalian church, more like a Catholic church, I suppose. And the organ, that music was so beautiful. If you've ever heard boom, 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 it just lifts you out of your seat, like you're floating in the air as if I was one of the angels officiating this ceremony. But that was beautiful music. Marika's mother is a seamstress she's a librarian. Well, she didn't make her dress, but it was her mother's dress that she wore. I don't know what it looked like when her mother wore it, but it was fabulous looking on Marika. The back is somehow like a lattice, or I forget what you call these things when you strap someone in, a bustier type thing in the back. It was like that. She had a long train. It was white. It was more like a pearlish white, off-white, but white. And she has long, beautiful hair, like the texture of your hair, but she's got long coils, like Beauty and the Beast coils on her hair. And they were just draped down like that. And the top of her hair was coiffed up with some type of crown that was just so appropriate for the dress, the event, the attire. And she just looks like a precious little doll. Edwin wore a tuxedo that he had tailor-made in Nigeria. It was red. The tuxedo jacket is red. The pants are black with the black stripe on the side. They had
he had sneakers on?
He had on sneakers as well. He had on sneakers. We had on the Chucks. All of them were black. His was red and black, red around the rim, black. Everyone else had high tops. So I had high tops. The other guys had high tops. His dad had high tops. And they had bow ties, red and black bow ties, white shirts, cufflinks that were red and black, Everyone had red and black cufflinks. Hmm. Yeah, and her mom wore red. I wore red. His dad wore black, a black suit. And so there were 3 groomsmen, 3 bridesmaids. The church doesn't play Here Comes the Bride because that is considered circular music. So they had this cute little boy coming down the aisle with this little sign that says, Here Comes the Bride. That was just so cute that he had that. And then someone behind him was ringing the bell. Ding, 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 ding. It was just different. But it was very, very nice. It was very
different. I'm so glad.
Yeah.
So I wanted to hear about it because I remember you
Yeah.
saying that Edwin was having his suit made in Africa. So right off the bat, that's like, oh, really? So
Yeah.
different is good. And I like different because it allows people the opportunity to explore who they are and
Yeah.
not be limited by culturally what's socially acceptable, because I am so bored with everything that is so socially, culturally acceptable. And so people are having the same wedding over and over again.
Right.
And it's boring. So that's why I was like, oh, no, you don't get to just say, oh, wait till the pictures come out. No, you
well, it was
a setup to the picture. This is the setup to the pictures.
Yeah, it was a fabulous arrangement, fabulous wedding. Everything
was at a church. So where was the reception?
Well, we didn't necessarily have what I would call there again the traditional reception, because no place was allowing for X number of people. So they did find a place that was 40 people, that would take 40 people, which was perfect because our 50 went down to probably 35. So it was in Greensboro at a restaurant, and I forget the name of the restaurant, but we were in this room and the waitresses brought out the food like it wasn't quite buffet style, but it was buffet style. It was served, we got our salad, and then maybe 20 minutes later they came with an entree of I don't even know what the first thing was we had, but anyway, we had spaghetti meatballs, we had shrimp and some type of pasta. Then we had lasagna, and we had chicken, like Parmesan chicken or something. It wasn't Parmesan, but it was chicken with the Parmesan sauce and cheese on top. And then whatever you wanted to drink, but I drank water. The kids had tea or Kool-Aid or something. And the adults that wanted alcoholic beverages, they ordered that as whatever they wanted. But it was, and all the extra food we got to take home. So because we'd already paid for the food. So I had enough food it's all gone now, my food. And a friend, who baked those cakes? The bride's brother's wife's dad, he was a baker or something, and he made the cakes. So they were pretty and good. And so everything was really just nice. And I think if I didn't get to know everybody's by name, I did get to speak to everybody. So everybody was able to say something to everyone. So we knew each other, and we saw each other as, being a part of a community and a family. So that was really nice. And on the day before the wedding, we had the rehearsal. We had a brunch together for everybody that wanted to make a toast. It was probably maybe 20 of us there then. So that was nice too.
So that was on Saturday. When did you get there?
I got about 10 o'clock on Saturday morning.
You got there 10 o'clock Saturday morning.
Yeah.
And brunch was like around 12 or 1-ish or something.
I think it was at 12:30, because we needed to be at the church for the rehearsal at 5, something like that. So 12:30. Yeah. 12:30.
Okay. So you stayed in a hotel because you were there overnight? And
I stayed there. I stayed there overnight. I stayed there I stayed there Sunday night. I had said I was coming back Sunday night, but I stayed Sunday night and I left at, checkout time was 12.
Mhm.
I missed
Good.
breakfast.
You stayed until checkout. You stayed until you had to check out.
Yeah, I
before
stayed
you
until
got
I
on
had
the
to check
road?
out. Yeah,
Absolutely. I
yeah.
don't know what y'all be thinking about going to weddings, talking about, and after the reception is over, I'm going to
Well,
drive back to wherever. I don't want to drive 15 minutes after the reception. One, usually I've had too much to drink, so
yeah.
I don't need to be driving anywhere.
Well,
So
it was probably just as good because we didn't leave the restaurant. We didn't. It was like 12:30 p.m. when we left the restaurant. So,
absolutely, and that's the time it should be:
yeah,
12:30, 1:30, 2 o'clock,
yeah,
or 3.
yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, but it was really nice. It was really nice. So everybody had a good time. Everybody enjoyed themselves. It seemed that everyone enjoyed themselves. I certainly enjoyed myself. I think his father enjoyed himself. Her mother enjoyed herself. So yeah, it was really, really nice. It was really nice.
and that's what's
Yes,
important.
ma'am.
So now when I see the pictures, I'll have another connection to the pictures.
Okay. Okay.
As
Well, thank you
opposed
for
to,
letting me share.
well, thank you so
Let me
much for
share.
sharing. I
Yeah,
mean,
absolutely.
of course, I was talking about it last week and
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
was like, oh, she should be there now. I was like, I don't know if the wedding is today or tomorrow. And Haas knew all the information. He was like, oh, the wedding is tomorrow. And I couldn't
Yeah.
remember Marika's name. And he called her something else, but he had the first part right, Mariah. And
Okay.
I don't know what he had at the end. I was like, oh, it's Marika.
Okay. Yeah, Marika.
So yeah, we were talking about it last week. That's why you
Okay.
can't come over and just try to poo-poo it off.
Okay.
That wasn't working. It wasn't working for us,
Okay.
So I kind of, because stories are everything, and you know that. And when you tell the story, I kind of feel like, I've lived it vicariously now through you.
Okay. Yeah.
Since I wasn't able to be there, I have a picture in my mind of how I think it was. So
okay. Well, it will be forever etched in my mind. It was a beautiful wedding. It was.
I'm surprised you weren't saying. I'm surprised you didn't do a toast and here to the grandchildren that'll be on their way.
No, actually, I didn't.
I'm glad you didn't.
It was in my mind though.
I know it was. That's why I said it, because I'm clear it was in your mind. When they gonna have, and I would be hard pressed to believe that it didn't come out of your mouth at least to one person. Oh, I'm looking forward to grandchildren.
No, I didn't say
You
it.
didn't even say it.
I didn't say it. I didn't.
Girl, you better start saying it. That's how
I'm saying. Oh yeah.
That's how you bring it to creation.
That's how you bring it into existence. Speak it.
Speak on it.
Yeah.
Speak on it.
Yeah.
They've been together how many years now? They've been together for a minute, haven't they?
Yeah, they've been together for about a year and a half officially, but they met in college.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, so they've been friends
and
since
they in their 30s. So they've known each other for what, 10 years or more?
Yeah. Well, 18. He was 18. Well, he didn't meet her at 18, 21. He met her when he was maybe 22. He's 36 or 37.
Okay, that's 14 years already.
Oh yeah.
Thinking that they had plenty of time to
know what they don't want. Yeah.
To be in close proximity, to not, to be away from each other, to get back together, and I'm not saying they were a couple back in the day, but I'm just saying, because if they went to school together, that's close proximity. And then they lived in different states, right? Because he was in Alabama or something like that for a while,
Right, and she's been down to Alabama before he even moved to North Carolina. So it's yeah, they've got history. They got some history.
Yeah. So I just want people to know that, this wasn't just because Dr. P said a year and a half or something. They've known each other for a long time.
Oh yeah.
And more importantly, and I think what's so beautiful about it is that they're friends. They're first and foremost, they're friends, and
they're friends,
who know each other. So it wasn't just like some little, let's, I met you and let's get married.
And my heart fluttered, and because of the age, let us go ahead and do this thing. No.
Right. this marriage is built on friendship, which I think all marriages really should be.
Yeah.
Really built on a deep
And
friendship.
you've got a good point. You've got a good point there, because I think when you build the relationship on something a little more substantial than the heart flutter, you have a better chance of it lasting, because you know what you don't like, you know what you do like, and this person really knows you at kind of like your best, or when you weren't even my significant other, I saw you then.
Right. I might have seen you when you were going through some changes with your significant other that you had at the time when it wasn't me. So that's what I'm saying. When you have that kind of history, that's why I really want it, because I love these kinds of stories. I love stories of people who have been friends, you know, and knew each other in high school or knew each other in college, and, you know, were friends, not necessarily ever boyfriend and girlfriend, but were friends, and then went and lived their lives and did some growing, and then kept in touch, and then, you know, visited each other even, and then end up becoming a couple. I like those stories.
And what you find is that I've got friends, Jimmy's mother, Jimmy is the best man, was one of the best men at the wedding, and I haven't seen his mother in a year. In 2021, I didn't see her at all. I've talked to her, just sent her a message, but I haven't talked with her. But if I were to see her right now, it would be just like we just saw each other yesterday. Absolutely. And those are good friendships to have too. Instead of like, who is this? You know,
absolutely,
like,
absolutely.
Well, you can have some good friends too that, you know, no matter what, they'll come through. My girlfriend Cheryl, who I don't talk about her, but she's a good friend of mine. She came over last night because she wanted to gift me with tickets. We're going to go see Patti LaBelle on March 13th. So I'm excited about that. And we haven't been anywhere in forever. So we're going to go see her. Patti LaBelle is coming to Charlotte. So I'm excited about that. So that'll give me something to measure for 2021, 2022. I think that'll be the first thing that I've done. So we just need something to mark something significant that has happened. Well, I've got the wedding, so that's one thing. Then March, I'll go to see Patti. So every month we should do something. I should do something so that the year doesn't just escape me and I have nothing to remember it by. Yeah. So I'm excited about that. Now, what are you doing in Tennessee?
I am here because it's Black History Month. This is a very busy month for me. I've done a lot of Zoom events in terms of talk, roundtables, you know, talking about my experience being one of the Memphis 13. So, as you know, last year we formed the Memphis 13 Foundation, and there are 6 of us on that board. And so we decided probably around the first week of February, because February was a few days before February. Oh, we should host some kind of event. So we've been scurrying around for the last few weeks trying to pull off the event that I'm here for, which is going to be a screening of the Memphis 13 documentary on the campus of the University of Memphis.
Okay, so I think you mentioned, are you going to live stream that, or were you?
Well, you know, there was someone who called and asked if it were going to be live streamed, and I forgot what the answer was. So I think they're checking to see if we can live stream it.
Okay.
So there's a possibility that it might be live streamed, but you know, as we continue to do more things, so this is kind of like sort of our third event that we've done since we've come together. The first one was the press conference back in September. Then we did a screening for the community at the Withers Collection. And this time we decided, well, let's focus on the students on the University of Memphis campus, because on that campus, you have a lot of students that are from Memphis, but you also have students that are from other cities and states. And so we will be doing that on Monday, which is the last day after their closing ceremony for Black History Month. So they're having a closing ceremony for all of the things that they've done for the month. And we decided, okay, well, maybe we can piggyback our event on theirs. So we'll be screening the film and then doing a panel discussion and then taking a couple of questions from the audience. And we'll also, if everything goes as planned, it'll also be being recorded, because as we go through, we're into October 3rd, 2021 marks the 60th anniversary. So now we're actually into the 60th year of the desegregation of the Memphis City Public Schools. And so we're documenting the things that we are doing and are able to accomplish this year, and this 60th year. And so hopefully we will have some footage of some interviews of not just some of the Memphis 13. And I think there are going to be about 5 or 6 of us. There are 10 of us that are still alive or shall I say living in this dimension, because energy never dies. And so, and I don't, I believe that with every fiber of my being, and whether others don't or not is kind of like irrelevant, because it's true. Go pull out your information on Tesla and some other people, who are masters at what and where energy is and about, and so forth and so on. So we're quite excited about this, and
rightfully so.
But you know what, Dr. P, I'm waiting to work on a project. I want our next project to be something that we have a 3-month lead on, so that when you ask me, is it going to be live? I can say, absolutely, it's going to be live. But what I've learned is it's when you're doing something that you're able to check the list off of things the other things that you need to do. Because one of the things that we wished we had back in October at the screening was a donate button. So that people could make donations. And we've got that in place now. If you go to the website, you can go and make a donation on behalf of the Memphis 13 Foundation. And so when it doesn't make any difference whether you have 3.5 weeks lead time or if you have 3 months lead time. The reality is, when you're in action, and when you are involved in doing things, you get to check the list. You just a check. Okay, that's done. Boom. What's next? Oh, we need to be set up in a way. Oh, did you just change your background?
I did, because I kept disappearing. I just kept disappearing.
I was wondering if you could see that, but I was like,
it was bothering me. So I can only imagine the craziness. But sometimes they don't do that. So it might just depend on if I'm sharing it, because if I'm sharing it, I didn't have that problem when I was on earlier today, but I did not initiate this call. So maybe that's why it was just kind of crazy. But yeah, I think I'm steady now. I'm steady Freddy, whatever they call it. Now, I'm also looking for the Facebook page to share this, and I'm not finding this. I'm not finding it. Just to make sure.
Oh, it's on my Living with Grace.
Yeah, but and I'm saying I'm not even finding it, but keep going.
I'm trying to make sure it's on Living with Grace. Well, I don't know, it might be. Oh yeah, I think it is Living with Grace because
Okay, I
um
found it. I have it now. I have it. So yes, it's
uh,
Living with Grace. So I'm just going
it
to
is.
share it to mine. Share.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so also also um we will be traveling to Nashville, which is about 3 hours away from Memphis, to go to the
Mhm.
Capitol, where the state representatives are doing a joint resolution in our honor. So they're going to present a resolution to us on the 3rd, which is next Thursday. So I'm here
Okay.
for that. And then I will be back to New York on the 7th. Praise God,
Mhm.
just
Mhm.
because, traveling is work. As
Okay.
far as I'm concerned. Unless
Well,
you go into an island where you're gonna be sipping on a little something, something, and you in one of them chairs where you can sit and the water can, you know, it's nice and warm outside, not too hot, but it's not cool, and you can put your chair close enough to the water where the warm water can wash over your legs,
mhm.
and you can just chill. Otherwise, traveling is work to
Well,
me,
when you were saying,
especially
when you
and
were
anyway,
saying,
I'm coming in to do work. And then, and I want to apologize for being a little late today because, I'm in a different time zone. So I was thinking I'm thinking it's 10 minutes to 4, when
uh,
in actuality, on Eastern time, the time that we do this is 10
yeah,
minutes to 5. And I was like, oh
exactly.
no,
Oh, okay.
I was,
Okay.
but
Well,
it's great.
I
It's
just want to,
great.
I'm just
It's
trying to
great.
say that when you say traveling is work, trying to drive the 3 hours to Greensboro was work, 2 hours to Greensboro was work.
It is. No,
I
it's
just don't,
work.
I
It's
don't
work.
particularly care to drive. I'm happy that I have the ability, the fortitude to drive to get me wherever I want to go. But I am not a favorite. That's not my favorite thing to do. Driving is not my favorite. Now, riding, I love to go. I just don't want to do the driving. So,
I don't mind doing some of the driving, but I like to do the majority of my driving. The older I've gotten, the more I prefer to
mhm.
do it in the daytime because you can see stuff. At
Yeah,
nighttime, it's just like driving through a tunnel. It's
yeah,
just the drive through the tunnel of darkness, you
yeah,
know.
yeah. Well,
So yeah,
I don't particularly care to drive at night, especially, but I'd rather not have to. Again, I'm happy that I can drive, but if I
of
could
course.
be a chauffeur, a girl, I'm be doing it. I would be doing it. So, but it's all good. It's all good.
It
All
is,
right.
isn't it? It
Yeah.
really is. I was really looking for, because we were talking about friendship earlier,
Mhm,
and because except for when I come in for this, or unless I'm going into the Ignite community to
mhm.
see what's going on with my people over there,
Yeah.
I'm not really on social media. And I keep saying, oh, I'm going to beef it up, but I'm doing so much work. I mean, having a
Mhm,
nonprofit is more than one can imagine sometimes,
mhm,
especially when you're in the building phase that we're in,
mhm. Right.
and we're trying
Right.
to pull this off,
And you're at one of the
in
top
3.5
uppermost
weeks.
positions too.
Huh?
And you're at one of the uppermost positions too. It's not like someone is saying, well, could you pick this up for me? You've got to ask someone to pick this up, then you've got to make sure that that thing is picked up.
So I got to
I'm,
communicate with them. I got to
yeah.
communicate over here. I got to communicate with the team. I got to communicate with the Memphis 13. We're trying to figure out now, because to be there for an 8 o'clock breakfast with the representatives in Nashville, 3 hours and 7 minutes away, and to
Mhm,
be there at 8 o'clock in the morning, that means we need to be leaving at 4:30 a.m. in the morning. Who's got a
mhm,
car? Who doesn't have a car? Maybe we can pool our money together and rent a car. How many are actually going? I mean, as
mhm.
soon as, I got an email yesterday that
Okay.
said from the person from the Benjamin Hooks Institute,
Okay.
who is one of the sponsors, for the event that we're having. Because, and then you got to go the right way. So because we're a new organization, we don't really have funds yet. So it's like, we need at least 1K, and we need 1K to play with,
Mhm,
aside from you know, having the building where we're having it, the auditorium sponsored. That's why you partnership, and then having the refreshment sponsored. You know, we still had to get that donate button. That didn't happen. That wasn't free. You know, we still had to get me in here. We still have, we still have to pay for the filming if we're going to have it filmed, you know, so there are costs.
It's a lot. And there are things that a media person, if you don't have one, but if you don't have one, a media person could, for example, LinkedIn, people in Memphis are on LinkedIn. But if no one is talking about it, that may be a missed opportunity too, along with the missed button, the interviews that you could have on YouTube. Someone could be talking about it on YouTube. Someone could be talking about it on Facebook. I mean, there's just a lot, but it's a lot that someone else has to initiate the startup. Okay, well, we can be here. And while you're talking about all of this, you know, traveling, if everyone isn't in the same hotel or in the same location, you're saying getting up at 4:30, but someone else might be an hour away. That's not like 4:30. Either they have to get up half hour or an hour earlier to get to the more centralized place.
Just saying we need to be on the road at 4:30. So you're very right. It's like, you know, it's an early morning, and you know, and we're all in our 60s. So it's like, who's really going to show up and who's not going to show up, you know, and so forth and so on, because it's an early day, you know. That means that if we're on the road by 4:30, that means you probably had to get up at 3 o'clock so you could get dressed, you know, and then 30 minutes to get to whatever, wherever it is, if we're leaving together in one place, because it's not going to be like somebody is driving to pick up everybody at an individual. No, there's going to be a meetup place. You meet here and we'll all leave from this one.
And that's the thing that people don't see when it looks like, oh, this was easy. All y'all had to do was come up and do a 30-minute presentation. That 30-minute presentation was like 4 hours prep. That's why you need a driver. You need someone that's going to go out and get your lunch, your snack, or whatever it is that you need to eat while you're waiting. It's a lot. It's a lot.
Because, and all of this for a 90-minute presentation, but we got to get there early. So we have to get there early. I'm so glad that the university, you know, is catering the refreshments, and you know, it's just real easy. It's just water and popcorn and cookies and trail mix.
But still.
Right, but we don't have to set that up. We don't have to clean that up. We didn't have to go purchase it. We didn't have to do any of that. So it's worth the money that is being spent on it, because we don't have to find a table. We don't have to dress the table. We don't have to bring the stuff that it sits in, because
but you still had to be responsible for finding what university, who's
paid for it. Well, who was going to sponsor it? And so that communication is just always going on. So, and that I led off by saying that it's interesting because, you know, I get an email yesterday, and it's like, we're almost there. And I'm like, yep, we almost there, because the person that I'm coordinating with has meetings all day on Monday. So she's not going to be able to see us until like around 1 or 1:30, and the event starts at 2:30. And we really want to start on time, you know. And so she was trying to get as much, accomplished. You know, you see my pearls are on my hand. I just want people to know I had. For some reason, well, then I had the sweater on and I couldn't get it around the sweater, but I just couldn't get it to hook up. So I put my pearl earrings on. But anyway, and so I was like, oh my God, I can breathe for a minute, because I'm feeling good about how Monday's gonna roll out. And then it's like, before I can really feel good about that, I was wondering, are they still going to honor us? Because I haven't heard from the representative. And then as soon as I was getting ready to get on the plane, I see that the representative called, it had texted me with a letter that I had hoped to send out like a week ago or so. And here, but you know, I just don't get, I used to get bent out of shape, and we're like, why is he sending this to me? girl, I really try to stay away from that energy as much as possible when, things don't go the way that I think they should go or something like that. I just really try to stay away from that energy and not go up into that space, because it doesn't create health in the body. And I really, really want people to understand that when we are sick and not feeling well, we do not make good decisions. We're not happy. There are few people I know that are sick that are really happy people. Okay.
Well, if you're sick,
well, if you feel bad, but people who feel bad, they're not happy people. And so, and my whole thing is, if I'm not having fun, because when I'm having fun, I'm happy.
Yeah.
Okay. And it's hard to have fun when you don't feel well. It really is, because, when, oh my God, just stop talking. I have a headache. Oh, and it drone, and it was the drone and the drone and the drone of the voice, it's whatever. And it's really not people. People are not really being mean. They're just really being real. I just don't feel good. No, just stop talking,
Okay.
or whatever else. So it's very interesting. And knowing that when we're responding and it's negative and we're fearful and it's angry, that we're just creating more toxicity in the system. I was having a conversation with my host and hostess where I'm staying, and we were having a really great conversation. And I was like, it's not rocket science. When we're vibrating to the low frequency, when we're dealing with all of the negative energies in the world, they deplete our system. They throw the body off of balance, which another way of saying that is taking it out of the state of homeostasis. Homeostasis means that if there's a balance, and once we take the body out of that balance, then it's like opening the door and say, okay, disease, whichever one of you I want to come in. And so many of us never close that door, or it kind of just about at the time that it's getting ready to close, something else comes along and it just swings wide open again. And that's why we are suffering, especially in the United States of America, because for the amount of money that we are spending on healthcare in the United States of America, we have hands down, this is factual, hands down, we have the worst results, hands down. And I'm just, I hear what you say when you say, well, people just don't know and people don't, I hear all of that. But in my mind, it's like wah, 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 wah. Like wah, 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 wah. Because we're looking for different experiences. We're looking for better results, but we keep doing the same old thing.
We're not going to
get those different. We're not going to get those different results, by saying, well, it's always like that. And that's what we do. And, because there's too much information out there now. There's too much information for us not to want to be curious enough to know what are the steps for me to heal myself.
But that's the thing. We're not curious. We want that easy solution. We want the pill in the pink bottle. And that
even though it's killing us, even though it's not working for us, and we do it thinking that so what do you think the results are going to be? And then somebody comes along and says something like, can you believe that so and so is in the hospital? And I'd be like, yes, I can.
Yeah.
What am I supposed to say? Oh, no. I'd be like, yeah, well, let me think about that. Yes, I can. As a matter of fact, I can believe it wholeheartedly. And I can, So, but at some point, yes, the majority of us are not curious enough, but we need to be curious. We need to be more curious. Everybody out here who wants to build all these amazing businesses and create all this generational wealth, if you don't have health, then I don't even really know what you're doing and why you really doing it, because that's not the behavior we should be modeling for our young people, whether they're our nieces, nephews, grandchildren. That's not that's saying, okay, it's okay to be sick and still work. Because if you are working towards having your own business, that means you're working your butt off. That means that means you in it. Okay. And so that means we need to be healthy. And I guess I'm saying this because I was on a round table day before yesterday.
Okay.
Spitfire little 12th grader. I mean, just a spitfire. All of us felt the same way. Okay, when are you running for whatever you running for so we can vote for you? I mean, she was just a spitfire. She was firing it like this. And one of the questions she asked us was, well, what do you think young people should take from the civil rights era? And what do you think what new things should we incorporate? And one of the things that I said was, hands down, when you are sick, you can't fight the good fight because you don't feel good and you don't make proper good decisions. And so part of what should also be the focus of Black Lives Matter or whatever other group is out there is mentally, how do we stay healthy as well? Emotionally, how do we stay healthy enough to fight this fight? Because it's not a fight where they're raining down money on you, you know. So, and then just using the word that it's a fight. Okay, that word in and of itself brings in a certain amount of stress to it, you know. And so how do we go up against this so that we can really fight the good fight, a good fight, if you will, you know, or be involved in change that is good, as opposed to saying the good fight. And I'm the one that said that, but you know, if I want to say it another kind of way, how do I prepare myself? Because
maybe for the challenge.
I remember in 2018 reading an article about a young woman who was a part of the Black Lives Matter movement. And at some point, because that machine and when you get up into those machines like that, things move really slow. They move really very slow. And you know, the individual is devoting their time, their energy, their heart to this, and not seeing the results that they think that they should be seeing, and you know, not wanting to go to a job that is meaningless to them, but have to because I have bills to pay. But then all the work that is necessary, and you know, like what I'm experiencing right now, all the work that is necessary in terms of building a nonprofit foundation, and they get depressed. And they die prematurely. In New York, the gentleman in Staten Island that had been killed, choked to death by a policeman. His daughter was 32 years old with 2 children. And, you know, this group was calling her to be here. This group was calling her to be here. She's trying to get some retribution for her father. She ends up having a heart attack. She's like 32, 33 years old. So it's very serious what I'm saying. This is not a joke. And I'm really at the point where, and I'm hoping I'm not going to be one of those, what type, you know, the raging kind of person that intimidates people into taking better care of themselves. But I have to go back to the fact that when Martin Luther King was assassinated, he was 39 years old. When they did the autopsy on him, they discovered he had the heart of a 60-year-old.
16 or 60?
60. His heart was, was 21 years older than he was. 21 years older than he was. But when you think about it, it makes perfect sense, because I just go back to Pettus Bridge. Can you imagine the responsibility that it takes for a person to knowingly lead people into danger? Lead people into, that's a heavy burden, and it's not fair. It is not fair. That's why That's why when people want to talk about Jesse Jackson, or if they want to talk about Abernathy, or whoever it is that they want to talk about, I want to say, if you weren't on the front line doing the leading, then I don't really have a lot of respect for what you're saying, because you weren't there. You weren't on the front line. Okay. So you're an observer making commentary from afar. Okay.
And that is so easy for us to do. And even as you're talking about being, you know, head chair, lead person with the nonprofit, that too is a heavy responsibility, because should it not come off, well, what was she doing?
And who they gonna point the finger at?
You.
That Kyle's girl.
Yeah, it was easy enough. All she had to do was ask somebody. Well, I asked 50 people already. Where were you?
You only say it, Dr. P.
Yeah, I know.
But fortunately, that is not my dilemma at this point. Is so not the dilemma. And you know, fortunately, being in Lisa Nichols, our coach, the MTM community.
Did we get some great training, and still do?
Exceptional. And I would tell anybody that they need to check, you know, our coach out, you know, in the MTM, because she said, I remember her saying when I first came onto the campus, you're going to understand that everything that you need is in this community. And she is so right.
She's so right.
Because I can't tell you, I call on my community members to help me with this.
For many things.
And they do.
And I want to tell you too that, you know, that the part that Jelani is over the teenagers.
Motivating the teen
spirit. So that may be something, the little girl that asked, what is it that they should be doing and thinking? Maybe there are some people in her community that might benefit from their Saturday once a month meetings that they may or may not even know exist. I've told a few of my friends, well, I've told all of my friends that have kids about it, that, you know, this might be a good program for blah, blah.
First of all, it's an excellent program. You're right.
But they have not grasped the wheel just yet, but maybe they will. But I think a lot of teenagers, young girls and young boys will benefit from that program. And while it's free now, you, of course, they can use a donation, but if you find
they may be raising money. You know, she had the Accelerate Inspire event this past week.
Right.
And I was able to get on a couple of times. I was on the first day and the last day. The other 2 days, my schedule, I mean, back to back to back to back. So there was just, it wasn't happening. And, but Jelani comes on all of the different summits, and he was talking about, they're getting ready, something is getting ready to come up. I didn't know he was living in Seattle, Washington. So he and
I don't know where I thought he was living.
Yeah, well, San Diego.
Okay, I don't.
He grew up. So I thought they were I thought once they got married, they settled in San Diego, but they made their way to Seattle, Washington. So, you know, which is north of California. So they're in Seattle. And, but I'm sorry, I missed Lisa's sip and chat yesterday.
I didn't get to it either. I didn't get to it either. I was there on the first day, and then
Aspire.
Yeah, the very first day. And I was on part of another day. It wasn't the last day. I didn't see the last day. So, and I don't think she's going to give us the replay unless we buy the package. So I won't do that. But Bert has posted something for the GSFers. I haven't had a chance to even look at that, but I'll look at it maybe afterwards. But yeah. We've had some fantastic, phenomenal coaching, and for those Facebook pages to still be up, if we want to be a part of it, we can still go in and practice more and more and learn more. So I think that speaks well.
So I would have to say that the comfort, and not just the comfort, but even you know, the doing. is really because of, you know, the opportunity to function in the MTM community as like the
Mhm.
SAC lead coach. And what does that entail? I got to keep up with people. I got to be looking at work. I got to be looking at charts. So all of that has
Yeah.
helped put me in the space where what I'm doing with the foundation is very similar. It's just,
Mhm.
it's another team. We, you know,
Mhm.
with our focus being on something different, but at the same time, something very positive, you know.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
I just
Absolutely.
don't have enough time to do my own breathing thing. And so I've got to
Mhm.
figure out going forward, how do I really just, how do I really hone in on that and, 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 and grow that, because I really could be growing it right now, you know.
Mhm.
And I really want to grow it because people are dying disproportionately
Mhm.
because they don't know how much power they have in saving their own lives.
Mhm.
And and at some point, and I say, I'm never going to really be that gruff person that's screaming and hollering at people to save their lives, you know.
Mhm.
Because it would not make me feel good, you know. But I just need to focus on my business so that I can at least be growing the people, just in terms of really having conversations and
Mhm.
really understanding, well, why isn't it a priority? Because I don't understand why a business is a priority, but one's health isn't a priority. Because
Right.
the very thing that you are spending the majority of your time building, you know, who's gonna take have advantage? Who's gonna take advantage of that? You know, if you're not here, and you know, you no, we can do so much better. I just, you know, I just know that there's so many people that I see who look so fabulous, and they're saying all the right things, and they're doing all the right things, and they're running around with illnesses that are reversible. So it's like, why aren't you listening and understanding
Mhm.
that that asthma, you don't have to have it. You
Mhm.
can change. But here again, I think it's the work to change it. You know, when I talk about it's one thing to talk about spontaneous healing. It's another thing to actually be involved in the work and
Mhm.
meditating on days that I don't feel like meditating, or feeling bad about days that I didn't do the meditation. You know,
Mhm.
I had
Mhm.
such a good January. I can't say the same for February, but all I can do is, you know, all I can do is have March be better, or the next day, maybe make it the choice to do it, you know,
Mhm.
to do my meditation the next day. Like
Mhm.
I was up, I went to bed late and was up early. And so I didn't
Mhm.
get a chance to do my meditation, you know, before and because I left for the airport at like 7:45, 7:45, 7:50,
Mhm.
because I just don't need the stress of running to catch a plane.
Mhm.
So I literally was standing. They say get to the airport 2 hours ahead of time. I'd be like, that's me. I'm trying to get to the airport 2 hours ahead of time. And
Mhm.
I was so glad I did that today, because that line was like a 9 or 10 minute wait just to get
Okay.
to,
Mm.
you know, and it's just such a process. You know, take your
Right.
shoes off, take your coat off, take your
Yeah.
hat off, take the computer out the bag, put everything in, you know. And now what they're doing is, they used to just put your luggage on the conveyor belt to go
Right.
through. Now your luggage has to be in a thing, because if it doesn't fit in the thing, you got to go back and pay for to check it. So that's
Oh,
what they're doing
really?
now. They don't
Okay.
wait till you get to the gate.
Okay.
If your bag, well, this is in New York at
Mhm.
American. If your
Yeah.
bag doesn't fit into the thing, and
Yeah.
that was today was the first time I ever did that, because any other time they was like, oh no, you don't have to put, you know,
Yeah.
the rolling one, you know, your suitcase. You don't have to put that in a case.
Right. Right.
But no, they are
Yeah.
like, if it doesn't fit in this case, you're gonna go back
Mhm.
and check it. Can
Okay.
you imagine that, after standing in the line for 10 minutes?
Hello. Hello. Yeah, I know. I
And your
cannot
bag
imagine.
don't fit, and you trying to catch a plane? or they're gonna make you pay for it at the gate. So maybe
Mm-hmm.
they do that, because that would be brutal to send them back. So maybe that's what they do, and say, well, this isn't gonna fit and you're gonna have to pay for this at the gate. I hope they let them go to the gate and pay for it.
Well, for the most part, I'm going to always have everything that I need in something that I can carry. It's going to be small enough that it will fit in that tray, and I'm going to call it a day. But then I don't really travel like that. But I like to get to places, even if it's 2 hours and the lines are short. I'd rather get to the airport and just kind of sit down at the right station and be ready to line up when it said, I remember when I was going to the Bahamas, I just felt like I was just rushing, and then I had to rush all the way back. That does not bode well with me. So
I don't think it really does with anybody, because
yeah.
it doesn't feel
And
good.
this is when you make mistakes. This is when you make the mistakes, when you're feeling like you're rushed and your brain can't think. You just know that you have to do, but you're not necessarily doing it in the proper manner. I should have checked to make sure my luggage is open. I should have checked then, like, is everything in it? No, my luggage is open. Let me just go on. Well, you see what resulted? My passport fell out. I missed my flight. Fortunately, they had enough flights going out from wherever.
Did you miss your flight that day?
But they had several flights going out that day that it was of no real consequence. So I think,
Dr. P, that's good for you. That means that you had insurance on your ticket. So one of the reasons that I'm getting to the airport 2 hours, because I can't miss the flight. If I miss the flight, I
did have insurance.
Right. I have to buy a whole new ticket. And it's like, a girl, you ain't not buying no whole new ticket. You too cheap to buy that. I don't want to say too cheap. You don't want it. You ain't trying to give money away like that.
No.
To pay an additional $18 or $20 or whatever it is. They're gonna nickel and dime you, girl.
Yeah.
Every kind of way.
I remember. And that's what I say. It's only in the American airports, because like I had a class and they were saying that things are free. The water is free. You get, water, but we pay for the water. We can't take water. We can't take the water on the plane, but you can get the water for free. I don't even know what it was, but it was something that it just seemed like everything that, you buy your chips, you buy your food. I don't know. There's just so much stuff for sale. And it was more if you were buying things, if you're buying cologne, but I'm not one that would be buying cologne at an airport anyway. But you can get it in the duty-free station and not have to pay taxes on it. But I would imagine if I'm going to buy some cologne at the airport, it's already out of my budget. I'm not needing to smell that good for nobody, not even for me. If I've got to buy it from the airport, I'll just have to wait.
You are funny.
Use my ivory soap.
Sometimes people are buying stuff for gifts for other people when they get to wherever it is they're going.
Yeah.
So
I might buy a souvenir. Yeah. But I just know me. I just know me. And it's just like, whatever. But yeah. I'm going to go out and get me something to eat. I have not eaten all day. I have been in what I consider my own training. I've been training myself on some things and looking at videos and writing out some plans as to how I'm going to approach whatever it is that I'm approaching. So I need to go get something to eat today. And I'm going to go get a salad. Get me a salad. But anywho, it's great seeing you, Coach. We will be back again. We'll be back again next Saturday. Those of you that are watching us, we'll be back next Saturday. And until then, any last words? Set.
Yeah, ready.
Go live. Bye, everybody. See you next Saturday.
Next week at 5 o'clock. So come on.